gosh. Give myself like a paper cut.
Alexis Sunshine 83, it's always sunny here.
Hey Sunshiners, Alexis Sunshine 83 right here. Hello, happy sunny Sunday. What is up? As you can tell, I am so pumped for today's video, which is finally my room makeover, well, office room makeover video. I technically am making over 2 rooms, but because both of them are my office, I just figured I would put them in one video, especially because one of the rooms was more like cosmetics, whereas the second room was just decorating, and I feel like on their own, it didn't really make sense for their own video, so I figured I would put them together, and yeah, let's get into it. This part, I kind of wanted to talk about what are the rooms I'm actually making over, like what do they look like before. The first one is downstairs. It's a really nice space. It has 3 windows. Well, it has a sliding door, so I guess that's like, in my opinion, like another window. Now, the wall color, I gosh darn hate so much. Obviously, I do want white walls, but this is what it looks like right now. And then the ground was tile, and I have nothing against the actual like flooring or anything, but I did have an idea based on my inspirations that I'm going to talk about in a second. It's a very plain room, to be honest. I mainly wanted to use this room for like outfits because having a blank wall is so amazing for like outfit videos and try on videos and that kind of thing. It is east facing, so it gets amazing morning sunlight, but very similar actually to the apartment I lived in previously. Come 11 a.m. the sun is nowhere to be found, although because it does have multiple windows, it definitely gets more sunlight even without the sun specifically coming through than the apartment that I lived at. So I knew I didn't want this to be my main filming space, but when we move up upstairs, we come into the second office, I guess you would say. And this is where I will be filming like the main chunks of my videos. Now, this room obviously already had white walls. I already had this room, of course, because I've already lived in this house before. If you haven't seen my like empty house tour video or whatever, that's where I explained it, so I'm not gonna explain it here. This room also has one window facing south and then another window facing southwest. So I definitely get more sunlight after like 1 p.m. So it's kind of perfect for me personally because I can film downstairs, kind of like outfits and that kind of thing, and then film the rest of the video upstairs with then the sunlight also coming in. To get us all on the same page, I figured I would share with you what kind of my inspirations and plans are for these 2 rooms. And the first one downstairs, I am really wanting to go super minimal. I mean, as you can see by the inspiration photos, I really mainly am focusing on the flooring. Definitely Best Dressed Ashley's LA apartment tour really inspired me with the white walls and the wood flooring. So honestly, my main goal was try to figure out how to create wood flooring on top of the tile and have white walls. Whereas we go to the upstairs room, and these are kind of my inspirations when it comes to colorful, some gold accents, possibly a disco ball, a little bit more character, colorful, clutter type of thing for the upstairs room. So you're kind of getting 2 different styles, and these are kind of what I want to hopefully create for them. So today is the day for the first project. Today we are painting the downstairs office white. I have all my supplies. Obviously first I'm going to use some painter's tape and cover everything I don't want to be covered in paint, and then put a little thing down so I don't ruin the tile floors, and start painting. It kind of looks like cottage cheese. Okay, please disregard how I am painting. I definitely learned a lot. This actually wasn't even the first room I've ever painted in my life before, but I still seem to not do it correctly on first go. So just disregard me getting the edges first before fully painting. But anyway, I feel like when you watch someone paint, it looks so easy. And I even thought like, did I do enough for this room? But I mean, this took me like 2 days to paint it fully white, and I mean there's not too much information to give as to what I'm doing because obviously you can see it. So I finally finished the second coat. I started this at 9 a.m. and it is now 6:30 p.m. I have inhaled too many paint fumes, so I think that is going to close out the first painting day. I think it just needs one more coat because it does have some streaks, although the color under it wasn't necessarily that dark. I think it just needs one more to really like even it out. I think John and I are gonna come back tomorrow to do the third coat. I may not film it just because how many times can you just watch me like painting the same wall? once the walls were obviously white, I kind of went back and forth of how am I going to get wood looking floors without damaging and also like charging an arm and a leg. So I went back and forth on a couple different ways of how I wanted to do this. Originally, I did think about doing vinyl planking, but after putting in like my square footage of that room, it would have been like $600. And realistically, because it's a room that's not getting too much like action, like it's really mainly going to be used for me just showing my outfits, you know, and the cats really love that room as well, so also them. So there were a couple of different options I found specifically for renters, and that was hopefully a little bit better with budget. So the first one I kind of looked into was this lock and hook wood flooring. I felt like this was the same idea as like vinyl planking, where you're kind of just putting it together like a puzzle, but they did require you to take off the baseboards, and that was something I didn't want to do. So the second option I was looking at was, again, a very similar style where it was like these squares that kind of like hook into place. This one was specifically plastic, so the other one was a little bit more like wood, whereas this one was very much like it was plastic, and it was pretty thick as well, so I was a little bit uneasy about this one. Lastly, I was looking into peel and stick flooring, so I was very like scared about this one just because, again, I have no idea what I'm doing, and also I don't want to damage this place. But I ended up watching a video from a YouTuber, which I'll have linked down below, and I gotta say, the influencer was influenced, and specifically this brand, which I think is Traffic Master, had the better reviews that I had seen. I ended up, based on my square footage, I got 5 different boxes, so it ended up coming to like under $200, which is definitely still steep, but again, based on what else I was looking at, it was definitely the better option. And I ended up only using 4.5 boxes, so based on, because I had used their like calculator on how many I would need, it seemed like it was pretty accurate, and I ended up getting the color Honey Oak, and it is just so beautiful. So I have the peel and stick wood. I am obviously not a professional, but for what it sounds like, we've already vacuumed, we cleaned the floors, and we just kind of peel and stick, obviously noticing like where we need to cut to make it all come together. I literally have no idea what I'm doing. So I just followed the instructions and kind of winged it, but I do have to say my 100% like main tip if you are doing peel and stick vinyl flooring is to get a leveler. I totally forgot that you have it on like the iPhone, and that would have saved me a lot of mistakes, and especially because I've said it multiple times, like I can't draw a straight line and I can't really like figure out if something's straight. So using a leveler definitely would have made a difference, because you have to put the vinyl planks in a straight line because it greatly like depends on what you will need to then cut later on while putting them down. Okay, so this section, it's gonna get a little chaotic. Basically, it is recommended to start from the middle when it comes to placing the planks, because once you get to the side of the wall, you end up cutting like small pieces to fill in the empty space. And I ended up abandoning the idea because I realized that I am not good at cutting in a straight line, like I've literally already said, and started from the sides, which I want to be honest of my mistakes. It did make things a lot harder and pieces very wonky. Another kind of detail that's really important is when you are kind of cutting the pieces of wood, because you're supposed to alternate how short they are with every single like line of the wood planking. You want to make sure that you cut straight, because if you don't, then the wood pieces or peel and stick pieces are not going to correctly align. And that's what I basically ran into a couple of times, just because, again, I'm like really bad with noticing the details of how straight certain cuts are. So although, yes, there are gaps, it's a little bit wonky, it is definitely not perfect. It does work for what I personally needed it to be used for. So if you are deciding to do this, please pay attention to measurements, leveling, and just all that, which I feel like most people are. It's just me and my like lack of attention to detail. Now for probably the part I'm most excited about, which is thrifting home decor. I don't know about furniture. We will see how today goes. I wanted to include like the thrifting portion in the actual like room makeover just because I may not find anything, so then like why would I make it its own video? So I have planned about 2 different thrift stores, possibly 3, to take a look at their home decor. What I'm really looking for, honestly, I kind of don't know. I'm open to like knickknacks. I would really love to find another really awesome mirror, potentially some prints. So let's go into the first thrift store and just take a look at their home decor. The first thrift store I ended up going to was the Savers, which they do have a pretty good furniture and home decor section. Although, sorry to spoil it for you, I ended up finding nothing, so I left empty-handed. Although I really wish I would have gotten this tissue paper box. I think that would have honestly been really cute. So regrets were made. I ended up then going to a Goodwill, which I did find this white mirror, which I thought because of the scuffs, I could maybe do like a thrift flip, and then also this massive painting. And although the painting I was going to put in my office, I ended up not putting it in my office. And I also thrifted a dining table. So has nothing to do with kind of what this video is, but felt like I should share it. I then went to my third thrift store, which was another Savers. Again, left empty-handed, and finished at my fourth thrift store for the day, which was Goodwill, and I found nothing, which I think is a very good reality of what thrifting for home decor and furniture is like, to be honest. I mean, it really does take some time to find the good stuff. So I am going to, I guess this is almost like the most crafting thing I'm going to be doing for my office. I am going to be taking this mirror that I thrifted from Goodwill for $9. It used to actually be full of like all this black stuff, and I ended up kind of just washing it and stuff, but I knew I was going to paint over the actual frame, and I went back and forth with what I wanted to do because I thought for a sec maybe I would just paint it white just to kind of make it as easy as possible. And then I actually asked on my Instagram, which is AlexSunshine83, like what I should do. And I got the most, well, I had like a vote system, and an overwhelming number of people said I should paint it gold. So I got this paint, which is just a metallic paint, and basically it should end up kind of looking like this one. I think it's definitely going to be shinier. It's not going to look as, you know, antique. I ended up only doing 2 coats of the paint. I do wish I would have done a third one just because there are some like white parts peeking through, but altogether, honestly, I think it turned out really awesome, especially for just being a mirror I got from the thrift store, and it had a lot of black marks on it. So the fact that I got that off and then just painted it, it looks honestly amazing and goes with my mirror obsession. It's finally time to show some love to the upstairs office. And again, nothing super major, but there are some cosmetic things I do need to do before I start decorating. I figured we would start with filling the holes. I think I'm going to be putting like art or something right here, so I'm not going to be hanging everything. So I just feel like it needs to be kind of filled in, and I've seen some people use this, so I'm gonna use it. And you just kind of like dip it, slat it, and that's it. So the overall breakdown of where I want things to go in this room is for my desk to be by the left window, a cat tree possibly by the other window, which I ended up not doing, and then another cat tree also by my desk, and my bookshelf, and 2 clothing racks that I've had to include somewhere on one of the walls, and then obviously plants and art. This is just like a rough cut of potentially where I want things that I already kind of have to be, which my next little project, I guess you could say, was just building my bookshelf, because when we moved, obviously I took it down so we could move. So I'm just building it. And the nice part about obviously having pieces that just go with your style no matter what is you end up using them in different places that you live. And so I really didn't thrift much because I already had things that I've either thrifted in the past or I've just had in general. Alrighty, so it's been a couple of days, a week, 2 weeks, literally time does not exist anymore in my mind. Anyway, right now I think I want to start putting some artwork up because I've been just kind of in a funk of like what I want to do with this room with regards to like style and everything, because I definitely have that gene where I just do too much, where I am scared that having blank walls or like just something bare makes it seem like I don't have style. I don't know what's wrong with me. But I have purchased some art prints from Society 6. I also have some art that I had gotten when I lived at the apartment, and I thrifted 2 new like frames and photos from the thrift store. I first thrifted this, which has just some dolphins on it, and then I found these 2 actually today. I think they're so pretty. I also actually got some photos printed, just a couple. I think altogether I got like 33. It ended up only being $12, and I got them really tiny because I have a wall that is just so bare. I mean, I know I literally just said that like I'm gonna try not to go too intense. This corner I'm very indecisive about. So I need this bookshelf thing for storage, and I didn't want it in like my frame when I'm filming, just because I have a lot of not like ugly stuff, but stuff that isn't pretty but I need to store somewhere. So I don't really want it in frame, but I mean, I'm still gonna like decorate it as I have. But anyway, so it needs to be right there because that's the only place where it fits. And so then I just have this blank section of the wall, and I don't want to fill it up with a bunch of photos, and because I already have like a designated place of where that's gonna go, but I don't want to leave it empty because it makes me feel uncomfortable. So I'm tempted to move one of my clothing rack right here, so then it's almost like a clothing rack corner. I don't know, and then I need to actually like properly decorate these clothing racks because I just like put a bunch of random clothes on there. So I think I'm gonna move the clothing rack and just see what it looks like. Does that look weird? I feel like something has to go there, and like that plant is really big, but like, does it look weird? I ended up leaving the clothing racks where they are, and I actually really like how it looks, especially once everything is finished. I think it really just goes with the entire room, but I'm now just kind of messing with my plants and then also my mirrors, so then I can figure out where I want to put all of the art that I will be putting on the wall. And I am using this like blue tack stuff to keep obviously all the prints on the wall, which honestly worked so good at the apartment that we lived at. There was no damage to it, so highly recommend if you are a renter. But I just really wanted this wall to show like a lot of personality and really have a focus on, I guess, like nature. I think I naturally just like the look of flowers and all that jazz. Yeah? I mean, this wouldn't be an Alexa Sunshine 83 room makeover video without some vines. Putting up vines just with some push pins. Obviously at the apartment I lived at, I was not allowed to make a lot of holes in the wall, so I have saved it for specifically this room, which is kind of funny because if, again, you've been watching me for a really long time, like I said in my house tour, empty house tour video, I technically have lived here before, and this room specifically always had just so many vines, so it did feel a little bit nostalgic putting the vines up again. And I am also then creating, I guess, kind of like a quote-unquote Polaroid wall, but they aren't Polaroids, but it is technically the same idea, and I'm just kind of adding some finishing touches to the room. I have the thrifted picture frames, just putting up again with some push pins. Alrighty, so finally the reveal. Like I said, I've been working on this since the beginning of July, and it's almost September, so finally going to start with the downstairs office. So let's go in. Definitely the echo, oh wow, I'm a little bit dizzy actually. Obviously the echo is pretty intense, which is kind of the other reason why I didn't want it to be my main like filming space, because I don't want to get a rug. I really wanted this to just be like wood floors, white walls, and that's kind of it, which is, yeah, it's exactly what it is. I think painting skills, I have to give myself a 9 out of 10. Could have done better, but I did do pretty good. Gotta pat myself on the back. The ground, obviously, I've already shown. It's been 2 weeks, I think, since I've done it. None of it has come up. I do keep the blinds mostly closed just because I know specifically with these peel and stick ones, with heat, it can warp it, and so that has not yet happened, and it definitely gets quite hot in here, so I usually keep all the blinds closed when I'm not filming, and yeah, the floors have done absolutely amazing. The only kind of thing I have in here is my mirror. If you guys remember, I feel like it was like 2 years, I guess. It was when I was filming like my thrifting wedding dress video, which is just wild. I thrifted this big old mirror from Savers. I originally thought I was going to potentially get rid of it. Oh yeah, good job. Honestly, like, it is so beautiful. It is such a hassle to get up and down steps that I just realized I would rather have it in here to be able to kind of like, you know, obviously look at myself, take the outfit photos and stuff, and it's the perfect kind of width and height. Yeah, that's basically the whole downstairs office. So let's go now up to the upstairs office. Now, finally, it's so funny because you look at downstairs and you're like, she's such a minimalist, and then you come in here and you're like, oh no, she definitely is not, which is funny because I said as I was decorating that I don't want to go like too much, like overboard, and I think I did that. So yeah, this is my upstairs office area. So we first come into probably the main part that you both see most likely on camera from now on, kind of this like art wall plant space mirror. I thrifted this mirror like a year ago. As always, all of my plants are fake. I only own one real plant. It is still alive. I've had it for about 5 or 6 months now, so pat on my back. But our cats try to eat the fake plants, so a real plant, like, I literally cannot imagine. So all of our plants are fake. Most of them are thrifted. Some of them are like hand-me-downs. We go over to this corner, my like clothing rack corner. As you guys know, I've had these for a while. They're from Etsy. Kind of design of them, I went back and forth if I wanted to go for a specific color theme. So I went a little bit more pastel, feminine, with then the jackets and that kind of thing. And then of course the gold mirror that I ended up thrift flipping. I think it turned out honestly amazing. We go over to kind of this area. It's just my Floyd bookshelf that they did end up sending me when we originally moved into the apartment that we were in. So I have filming equipment. I do have obviously some decorative pieces, things I've thrifted. These two pieces are actually, oh, I think this is actually a salt and pepper shaker thing. I didn't know that. These are actually from my Oma and Opa. I will continue to add stuff. Like the rug that I have right now on the ground will not be staying here. It's for the living room. If you guys remember, I thrifted it in Palm Springs. It's amazing. I freaking love it, but I want just another one to be up here, so I'm still looking for a good thrifted rug. That one's just kind of like a temporary thing, and even like my lavender chair, I would rather have a different chair for filming, so that we actually have usually downstairs. And I'm trying to find a pretty like pink velvet wingback armchair. I did find one on Facebook Marketplace, which I've never bought anything from Facebook Marketplace, which I feel like everyone's kind of into it. So I tried, but messaging the seller and they were like, yeah, it's still available. Things seemed to like be going back and forth. It was really priced well, wasn't too far away. And then all of a sudden they messaged me back and were like, oh, actually, we're going to rent them instead of sell them now. They are renting them for people to use for photo shoots, even the same price that I was going to be buying them. So they weren't selling them anymore. So alas, have yet to find a armchair. So again, right now that's just kind of like temporary. Then my desk is right here. It is a standing desk. I have really yet to use it as a standing desk, but that is kind of like a cool thing. Of course, I have all this different artwork and stuff. I then have different like Polaroids, different photos. We then move into this little corner, which I mean is mainly gonna be pretty empty because this is where my camera goes when I film. But I have this drawer that I've had again for 2 years. I thought about painting it green, like a pastel sage green, but I honestly kind of prefer it to be white. With all the greenery I do already have in the room, I just felt like it would be too overwhelming. So I'm just keeping it white right now. I do have a disco ball. I am basic and I'm not afraid to show it. It honestly really makes a difference. Look at how absolutely fun that is. It really does bring me so much joy. I have this print, which I got it from Etsy. The seller sells her prints as like a digital download, and she has like a poster size. So I ended up buying that and then getting it printed just from Walgreens. And then I just have little, what's this called? Closet. I got a closet in there. I'm not going to show you because it's a little bit messy, but it just has like my filming equipment and that kind of thing. So nothing exciting. But then we have photos of friends, family, experiences. For me personally, especially through the past like year and a half, and the fact that all of my friends now live in different states, it is just so nice to have physical photos to look at and be like, oh, I remember that time when I met Carrie for the first time. I remember when John and I got married. I remember when I got Autumn. Like, it's just so fun to kind of see, and this wall you won't really see when I film. It's just kind of just for myself. And then I have this London print that I think I've had for like 3 years now, just because I really love England. So I figured, why not? And yeah, that is the kind of makeover room tour of my offices. They both turned out exactly how I wanted them to, and they bring me so much joy. Of course, like I said, it will probably be changing to an extent when it comes to like thrifting an armchair and a rug. So if you would like to be a part of those thrift with me's, then make sure to subscribe right down below and hit that little bell to be notified every time I make a new video. And yeah, I hope you guys have a super sunny Sunday. Enjoy life, be happy, and I love you lots. Bye! Also, thank you, John, for being my cameraman.